one of the things I'm trying to figure out is why in my garage door, actually I installed a new extension spring on one of the sides, actually both of the sides, but one of my extension springs broke. That's why I installed it on this side, and on the other side the extension spring didn't break, but I still replaced it so that the two extension springs were matched. I think I used uh, the standard one that I got from Home Depot. I think it may have been an Everbuilt brand, and I know that the extension springs have to be rated. You have to buy the right extension spring rated for the weight of the garage door. And I believe the ones that I bought initially, they were pulling the garage door a lot. Um, like they were uh, the garage door was actually being pulled up. It wasn't stationary when I was holding it. It was being pulled back towards the motor, and I know that the extension spring wasn't the right rating. The one that finally worked that I bought was, I think it was rated for 110 pounds, and it was these extension springs are color coded. The one that I bought was color coded with blue. But anyway, the bottom line is, when I installed the new extension spring on both sides, actually I had to reinstall the cabling on this side. And after I reinstalled the cabling, I found that the garage door wasn't sitting level. The bottom of the garage door, if you notice, let me see if I can get down to the base. The one on the left is a little higher up, and it's sort of not reaching the ground completely, whereas the one on the right is reaching the ground completely. So this side is a little bit further, maybe maybe a centimeter or less than an inch for sure. So if you notice, there's a gap over here below this. I can put my finger in on this side, and of course the builder had not even installed this rubber bottom weather strip all the way to the end, so I have to replace this anyway. But the point is, on this left side there was a gap after I installed the extension spring, and on the right side here there's no gap. It goes all the way to the bottom. So essentially the garage door is not level. The one on this side is a little higher up than the one on this side. Whereas if you look at, this is the old other garage that I have, everything here is completely level. Like if you compare this side with this side, it's all level. So I'm going to actually investigate why it's not level. My suspicion is that the tension on this side, I had to, when I adjusted the cable, the tension on this side is more than the tension on this side, which is why it's pulling it up a little more than that side. But let's see if my suspicion is correct. This is a overhead door brand garage door. I'm not sure what model. I have to look up and see what model this is. But anyway, let's go ahead and open the garage and see what might be going on with the tension springs. So essentially this extension springs are on each side of the garage door, and the cable is what connects the extension spring to essentially through a set of pulleys. It's connecting it to the bottom of the garage door, which is what pulls the garage door. It relieves some of the weight of the garage door essentially. So I'm gonna check to see. First thing I want to check is the length of Um, to what degree is the extension cable being pulled? And I think this, yeah, this is a newly installed extension cable on this side. If you notice, it's blue color coded, the last spring, or cyan, light blue. Anyway, I'm going to be measuring the length of the extension cable and comparing it on both sides to see if somehow this garage door not being level is related to the amount of tension or the length to which these springs have been extended. So I have a tape measure here with me, and I'm going to measure the length of each side to see. If you notice, there's that cable over there that actually pulls the this extension spring, and it's connected over here. So I'm going to measure this length and compare it to the length over there. So I'm going to readjust my ladder so I'm facing the extension spring. Try to bring it closer. I don't have much space. I have to clean up my garage. But that's the extension spring. And I'm going to measure the length. It's kind of hard to do holding the camera. But let's see if I'm able to do it. So let's see if I measure the length all the way from this side. That is excluding those last two rings. Should be enough. Actually, I'm not able to reach the other side. I don't have enough ladder space. I'm gonna try the other way around. I'm gonna try from this side. So this is about 30, almost 36 inches, but let's say 35, and it's probably like 2/8 of an inch shorter. 35 and 35 and 3/4 of an inch, I'd say. That's excluding the spring ends. Now let me go and measure the other side. I don't have much space on the other side because it's right near the wall. So that might be a bit of a challenge. But let's see how far I can get. The other problem is that the springs themselves are not really tight. So it would be kind of hard to measure, but I think the cable is tight though on the other side of the spring. So the sum total should be able to tell me this is the cable that actually is a safety cable, which is used to stop. I'm not sure how it helps, but it basically provides like a fail-safe safety cabling mechanism. But anyway, let's get back to try to measure the what have you. This might be a little harder to do. I'm just gonna, for now, maybe it's harder to do holding the camera. So let's see if I can get this to around just past 36, and then use this to measure. This is much harder to do. Okay. Oh boy, this is hard to do with one hand holding the camera. So now this seems around shorter for sure. So that might be the reason why. This is maybe quarter of an inch shorter or so. So this could be the reason why yeah, this could be the reason why. So if I adjust those cables, the bottom side of the cable is actually what is secured to the frame. So maybe I need to loosen the bottom side of the cable, which would be by a few, quarter of an inch. That might fix the problem. And essentially the bottom of the cable is what is secured there. This. So if you look at it from this side, it's what's secured over here. So if I loosen this by a little, maybe quarter of an inch, that might fix the problem. So I'm going to try doing that later, in a few days. And just to check again, I'm going to close the garage door and you'll see the gap actually. I mean, the garage door works properly. It's just that there is that gap on this side, which we will notice. So if you notice the gap more on this side as compared to this side, and the gap is also maybe quarter of an inch. So it may be because of that that needs to be adjusted. But I have to be very careful when I adjust this, because this, especially when the door is closed, because this is under a lot of tension. And so maybe I have to find a better way of securing this steel cable rather than just pulling it through those holes. This is the cable that I had to reinstall after I reinstalled the new extension spring. And if I compare the cable on this side, which is what I reinstalled, with the one on this side, the one on this side, this is just a safety cable, but this is the real cable that is under tension. This is just a safety cable which is loose, but this one here is what is under tension. So this is probably under less tension than this is what I have to adjust.